What's happening, YouTube? It's your life game for Friday night. You're in the building with me, the living legend, Larry, and we've got a lot of stuff we want to discuss with you guys tonight. Larry, how you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling pretty good. We have a deep schedule today. We're going to talk about the existential threat to global imperialism. No, I'm just messing with you.
No, he's not lying. We are going to talk about the existential threat to democracy right here in our own country. We are going to talk about that, but we're also going to talk about power. I think I know how they're going to tie Ghost into the story. We're going to discuss that. We do have a Marvel story. We are going to discuss politics because some of our fans enjoy us going back and forth on that. And we're going to end on stocks. And for those of you that did put options this week, because you saw my video, let me know what you did. I'm going to show you guys my results. All mine went through. So I got the premium up front. And I also got my collateral back already. That's how Robinhood gets down. And before we jump into this, Larry, let me shout out everybody that has tuned in. To all 31 of you folks tuning in to us already, what's up? We love you. Super chat, we got some things to show you for visual laughs. What's up, Trisha C? Now, let me tell y'all about Trisha C. She been rocking with this channel since I first told y'all to buy Tesla when it was $400. And if she's single, fellas, she's rich.
Winner.
So in that thread, if you want to pick a winner, chicken dinner, Trisha C is it. What's up, my folks, Shrinking Shan? What's up, my man Buzz, Olympia Horton?
Olympia in the house.
Yeah, Milan, Ghost lives forever. And we're going to talk about that. Larry.
Buzz, 703.
Buzzing in the building. Larry, are you ready for Power? We only got about 3 more weeks. Power Book 2, Ghost comes back. How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. I just have to show people ask me what I have in my little cup sometimes. So tonight I'm drinking some beer straight from the root. So
oh Lord.
I know I get up here wilding out sometimes and people think I'm up here drunk. I'm not. I'm just either drinking soda or sometimes I drink my seltzer water. So
right, exactly.
Tonight I'm splurging, and I have my water here. So if I go through my root beer, I will. But I have my my seltzer water too. But I'm about to get down with my root beer. All right.
Yeah. I didn't bring my protein shake that I normally drink because I just had dinner, so I'm good. I'm rash. I'm sane all the time, no matter what I put in my body. Try to hold it together. So.
Have you been getting your workouts on since you've been in new dad mode?
Yeah. Whenever the baby's
time for yourself,
whenever the baby is asleep, I crawl right in that gym. I check with my wife to make sure she's okay with the baby, and then I go and hit the road, do some jogging. I did 2 miles today. I hit the weights. I did push pull. For all my fitness folks, push pull means I did opposing muscle groups. I did either shoulder presses or chest, went back, and yesterday I did shoulders and back. Tomorrow I'm gonna do it all. I'm gonna go heavy tomorrow, so I'm still hitting it.
All right. Well, also right after your wife gives birth is the best time for her to get pregnant again. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Man,
I'm just saying you might want to give your little girl a sibling.
No, not yet. No.
Man, you have 4 seats in the Tesla. You have 4 seats in there.
Man, let me show you something, man. Let me show you something. You see that?
I do.
That ain't even 7 weeks old yet, and you talk about having another one, bro.
Oh, look at those cheeks, boy. Man, she has those mitts on. Those mitts are great.
Yeah,
I remember my niece used to wear. My niece used to wear the mitts, and when she got where she can finally talk, she used to say, "Where are my mitts? Where are my mitts?"
And that's probably what she's gonna say. So,
oh man,
and but that's about it, man. We're gonna wait, and we've got some power stuff we want to talk about today. Larry, are you ready for Power? 3 weeks away. What's up, DVD King?
DVD King in the building. Himble Child, why not? Who's this Lamont Tyson character?
Oh, that's me.
I know, man.
Yeah, that's me. What's up, Tim? Always good to see you in the building.
Oh,
so Larry
Tim Windsor.
He's in the building. So, Larry, this is how I think we're going to see Ghost. Okay.
All right.
So we know that there's going to be doing this show, and it's surrounding the exploits of Tariq, the badass Tariq, might I add. The Tariq that need a butt whipping. Okay. Now, we know James St. Patrick is dead. But I think Ghost, the name Ghost, the entity that is Ghost is going to live on through Tariq. But the way that I feel like they can sprinkle in James St. Patrick's ghost into this story is every time Tariq lay his badass head down, he's going to be haunted by what he did to his dad. And you might even see his dad talking to him the same way Kanan used to come back and talk to people in their visions. You might see Ghost helping Tariq out in his visions. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say I think that what's going to happen is as Tariq starts moving through this world of becoming a big time hustler, I think Ghost is going to be there and he's basically going to guide his career as a drug dealer, And I think he's gonna tell him make this move, don't make that move, and he's going to be right there. So we're going to see Ghost I think we're going to see Ghost probably throughout this quite a bit. But Tariq is going to become the new Ghost, as you say. So I expect that we'll see James St. Patrick, just like you said, a ghost version of him, one that only Tariq will see. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out because he's going to be dealing with a different world than his dad did. So it'll be interesting to see how Tariq learns to navigate that and how his dad is able to show him how to navigate some of the stuff, but not all of it because Tariq's going to be at this, at this school with all these rich kids, and he's going to be sort of doing that. Whereas when Ghost came up, he was like a straight street dude, and even to the point where he died, he was still, even though he had all the clubs and stuff, he was still pretty much a street dude, And so Tariq is sort of the opposite of that. Tariq is sort of starting in the reverse where he's not a street dude. And now he has to learn how to go in the streets. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yep.
All I know is that dude, wherever he goes, man, destruction just follows.
It seems like it. Now let's discuss what the fans are saying. Let me shout out. We've got someone watching us from Alaska. Damn. What time is it in Alaska right now? The sun is still up, I think.
I think the sun is up there until the end of the year, man.
Yeah, because they do 6 months. They do 6 months light, 6 months night, whatever the thing may be. But shout out to you, Marlon. Shout out to Brandon. Just my reviews. He's supposed to come check us out next week. Now, what the fans are saying, Trisha C says she think my theory would be corny. Support Gaming has a good one that I think, and I'm gonna get back to Trisha C's comment in a second. He thinks that what if we see a situation where Kanan comes to Tariq in his dreams or his daydreams or whatever and says kill someone, Ghost comes to him and says don't do it. He's at a dilemma. What does he do?
So we're gonna have a situation. We're gonna have a situation where you're gonna have a little Kanan devil on this shoulder, a little ghost angel on this one, and they're gonna be talking to Tariq. Yeah, I agree with you, Teresa. That if they do that, that's gonna be corny.
Yeah, I think that would be corny. I mean, that would be a little cheese. However, to get back to her point, she was saying she think it would be corny just to have him seeing ghosts in his daydreams and things like that. I think that Teresa, if they do play it like that, if they do play it in that manner, that could be a way to get the crowd to be won over by Tariq. Because he's being guided by the character that everyone loved. That would be an excellent way to get him to turn the corner. Because right now, let's be honest, a lot of people don't like Tariq. But if Tariq is being guided by the thoughts of his daddy, which is what everybody wants to see, that could be a way they could get the story narrative and get the crowd behind Tariq to set him up for huge triumphs and huge failures. So I could easily see them doing it. As a matter of fact, I think they might do that. But we'll see.
It's gonna be real Star Wars-esque, where we're gonna have his dad showing up, saying, do this. It's gonna be a whole very Obi-Wan Kenobi-ish, I don't know. Maybe Angela show up too and tell him how to navigate the legal system.
Right, right. And Trisha, see, we know you wasn't being disrespectful at all. We didn't take it that. We thought it was just genuine dialogue. Nothing disrespectful about that. Absolutely nothing.
You know?
Oh Lord, I'd rather Casper pop up on the episode, but Ghost as a ghost is too much. She'd rather Casper the friendly ghost pop up. Lord have. Well, Trisha, here's the problem with that. It's a lot of people talking on the streets, and when I say the streets, I'm talking about the interwebs, saying that, oh, if Ghost ain't on the show, I'm not gonna watch it, and oh, the show is dead because Ghost is going. I'm like, just stop it. Stop it. If the story is good, we know who the actors are. You liked all the actors for the most part from the other show. If the story is good, your ass is going to watch it. Just stop it. You're going to watch it. And if they weave in Ghost just as a figment of Tariq's imagination, guiding him, so Ghost is really living on through Tariq, that could be enough to satisfy these people that claim they're going to dip if Ghost is not in it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, the point of it is that it's a spinoff, and people need to recognize when you have spinoffs that is what you do. You move away from the main characters, and you give some of the other side characters their own stories. You make them the main characters. So you have to accept that those people are not going to be the primary focus anymore, and that's just the way it is. I mean, we may see James St. Patrick coming back as a ghost, but we may not, and we just have to deal with that. I mean, personally, I'm more interested in seeing Tommy. I would much rather see Tariq get into some sort of trouble and need guidance and have Tommy come in and guide him than Ghost, because Ghost is dead. I'm done with him. He can be dead, unless he's going to come back to life, unless he's going to be so inspired by love that he comes back to be with Ramona. I don't really want to see him back.
Oh God, here you go.
I'm just saying.
Probably. I want somebody to leave me a comment if you're tired of hearing Larry talk about Ramona Forehead. That's her name, Ramona the Forehead. I mean, it looked like you don't know how she bends over without hitting her knees with that forehead she got.
Oh,
Lord have mercy.
Man, have to go in on Ramona.
God, because you went there, man. You started it. All the time bringing up that Ramona.
You know you love Ramona. Everybody loves Ramona. What is not to love? She's smart. She's beautiful. And then she's also beautiful and smart too. I mean, I'm saying, what's not to love?
That's your girl, and nothing's wrong with it. She's all yours. No parts for me. And I like her as an actor, so don't get me wrong. No parts for me. She's a hell of an actor, and I would love to see her in more stuff. But
I don't know if anybody has seen that show. I think it was Spartacus. She was on there.
She's also in Shooter.
Shooter, really?
Yeah, she's in Shooter with what's homeboy's name? God, I can't think.
Mark Wahlberg?
No, not Mark Wahlberg. The TV series Shooter, the spinoff from the spinoff from Mark Wahlberg's movie. USA has a show called Shooter that's pretty good if you haven't seen it. It's got Omar Epps in it. Love him in it. It's got the cool ass white dude, and I can't think of his name. I can't think of his name, but check it out. If you haven't seen Shooter on USA, it's a good show.
Check it out.
Now, in terms of how they're going to go with setting up who's supposed to be the villain in this narrative, do you think Felipe? Ryan Felipe. Yeah, him. He's in it. Larry, do you feel like they can set the story up where they can make Mary J. Blige the villain and the good guy to Tariq's good guy?
I mean, I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes because
somebody's got to be the villain. Somebody's got to be the adversary, and somebody's got to be hated in this thing. And we know it's not going to be Tariq.
Right. I'm going to say yes, and I hope they establish that early. After watching how many episodes we are of into P Valley, I really want a story that has a clearly defined villain. I want to know who to like and who not to like right up front. So I'm hoping that she becomes that. It looks like she is, but it's unclear on how intense of a villain she's gonna be. It seems to me like she might be a sometimey sort of villain, and yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just really not sure who that's gonna be. Like I feel like the way they've written this show, though, they haven't always had the most clearly defined villain. They've always had, in each episode, there's always something that they have to overcome. Obviously, that's part of the storytelling process. You have to have your journey and overcome something. But it's not like they've always had a long-standing villain besides maybe Kanan. And even then, he was sometimes an ally. So
well, they have had villains. It just wasn't the people that grew up together. You had
but we never really cared about them because they just sort of showed up. Like when the cartel people showed up, they were the villains, sort of, but they didn't really they didn't really deal with them so much that we can get to know them. And so we didn't care about them enough to say, oh, well, if they just kill them, they kill them, no big deal. Like when they shot that lady, no one cared about her. We didn't really know her.
Are you kidding me? You talking about the Jimenez sister? We liked her because she was about to smash homeboy Andre. Then she was about to smash Tommy's #1 guy. We liked her. We didn't like her crazy brother.
You're right. I guess we did get to know her a little bit. You're right. You're right.
And what about the villain from season 1 through 3? We liked his weird, crazy ass.
Who was that?
Golly, what was his name? The one that Tommy and Ghost broke out of the jail van. Then they killed him in the field.
Oh, they drove under that drainage thing and killed him.
Yeah, he was one of the best villains of the whole story. And so,
see, I didn't feel like I got to know him like I got to know Tommy and Ghost and them. And so I didn't really feel a connection with him like that to care one way or another that he got killed. I felt that more so. I felt that more so with what's her name, the
Jimenez.
The Jimenez woman. But I mean, really, I guess I really started to feel it when Kanan came along because they dealt with him so much. They talked about his backstory with Ghost and Tommy. We got to see him interact with Tariq, getting him hooked on that purple drink. We saw him. We just were able to really get a feel for who he was and what he was, and we got to see how evil and how scary he could be. And to me, that's what makes an exciting villain, a fun villain.
Well, I feel that way. I feel that way about Lobos. He was my favorite one. Milan was menacing, dangerous, and crazy. And the Jimenez crew was menacing, dangerous, and crazy. And the sister was somewhat compassionate. So, I felt for all of them, and I did like how they mixed in Kanan being an anti-hero. Sometimes he's on your side, but the person whose side he's always on is himself. And in the end, he sacrificed himself for Tariq.
Right.
He killed his real blood son and sacrificed himself for Tariq. So, and let me give you something that. Yeah, let me let you in on what Verbal Underground said. Courtney Lion-ass Kemp said, because I'm through with Courtney. Lamont, Courtney Kemp said, as far as those who knows him knows, he's dead. But I can't say it will always be that way. It was certainly written and intended to be that way, but things change. Let me tell y'all about Courtney Kemp, okay? All right.
Careful, otherwise you won't get a poster.
Man, let me tell you, look, I'm mad with Stars anyway. As much support, and I had the highest rating reviews for Power last year, the way I helped them out, and for them to try to demonetize my videos for showing 10 and 12-second clips, I'm mad with them about that. But anyway, Courtney Kemp last year said Angela was going to be alive. She didn't lie, but she ain't tell the full truth. Angela was alive for 5 seconds. Is that really alive in terms of what the fans are thinking? Hell no.
Yeah, that was a garbage move.
So even with her saying that he's dead, and I've been told y'all Ghost is dead, her saying that he might pop up is nothing more than, like I just said, he's going to pop up in daydreams here and there. Now, if y'all want me to do my long drawn out videos of conspiracy theories that I used to do last year, I could, but why? There's too many other good shows I can spend time on right now, including Lovecraft Country. I'll handle Power when Power pops up. But I don't expect him to be alive at all. And if we see him, it's just going to be in a dream or daydream.
Yeah. I agree. I think he'll pop up as sort of a ghostly guidance father figure from the afterlife or something, just showing up here and there when things really get tough. So like I wouldn't be surprised if they do some scenes where Tariq is in the room with somebody or talking to somebody, and all of a sudden Ghost is sitting there, pops up and starts telling him whatever, and Tariq sort of zones out listening to his dad, and then the person's like, Tariq, you there? Hey. And then he snaps out of it and his dad's gone. I could see that happening. That seems like a very common sort of usage for people like that. So we'll see though. I don't know. Sometimes they surprise us, but sometimes they deliver exactly what we expect.
Right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, just get ready. The week before Power comes on, I'll throw out 2 theory videos just so we see what happens. And because Power is trying to demonetize not only 10-second clips, they're also trying to demonetize pictures of their content. And so don't expect to see a whole lot of pictures and all that stuff I normally like to do in my videos, because you're trying to eat a brother's money, and I ain't going to be doing it. It's just going to be my pretty face. I might even bring my sidekick L up here to terrorize y'all, and we'll just break it down that way. So we're going to move right along because we haven't done this in 2 weeks.
But what about this right quick, Lamont? How about this? What if they bring Tommy back in for a minute because he needs some, because Tariq needs some advice about something. They bring Tommy back in, and right as Tommy comes in for Tariq, Tasha gets out of jail. Tommy and Tasha hook up, and now Tariq is calling him Uncle Daddy.
See, that's what I mean when I say weird, crazy conspiracy. I could write them all day about Power. I could.
I'm just saying it would be biblical, man. It would be biblical. It says in the Bible, if your wife dies, if your brother dies, you're supposed to marry his wife and take care of her and her family.
Huh?
It would be biblical.
Man, look, man. I would have rocked with you if you would have said Tommy popped back up and found Ramona, put it on you. That's what I would have rocked with you, Will. But you done went down. No, man, that's not going to happen. They're not going to go down that way. And before we leave, I will say this. Verbal Underground is dropping absolute gems on this show tonight. They're talking about Simon Stearns, who's obviously in the next book, Power, because we've done the trailer review. And he's saying Stearns is an opportunist. And I completely agree. It's just a matter of how is Stearns going to try to use Tariq? Because Stearns is dirty too. Stearns is white collar crime dirty. It ain't many billionaires that got to where they're at without pulling some levers of dirt somewhere. I can just tell you that right now, ladies and gentlemen. They can sit in front of a camera, smile, and tell you pull up your bootstraps, tighten your belt. They can tell you all that horse shit, all right?
Right.
When you start climbing the ladder of power that much, you step on somebody's toes in a way that's not moralistically right. And you do erode some laws that the average person couldn't get away with because your power and influence allow you to do it. So I'd be interested to see what Simon Stern does.
Yeah, and you don't see many of those people going to jail because they keep files and dossiers on people. So when they're doing their dirt either with somebody or on behalf of somebody, and that's why they end up keeping themselves out of trouble. So, and he's dirty. I mean, we see it, we know it. He's not going to go into business with someone like Ghost. Ghost didn't scare him because he's like, I know dirty. I know you're dirty, but I know dirty, and I'm comfortable with it.
Right. So that brown you saw on Stern's face, that wasn't a golden tan. That was dirt.
Yeah.
That was dirt. That won't blackface, ladies and gentlemen. That was him being dirty.
That's right.
Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wind down the power talk. Great conversation. Glad you guys got involved. Now we're going to hit you guys with Marvel. We've got some Marvel news. Me and Larry want people to start doing the right things with coronavirus so we can take our butts back to the movie theaters. So they're talking about who is going to form the new Avengers team. And I've actually got a clip to clarify some things for you guys. So go grab yourself some popcorn, grab yourself some juice, sit back for the next about 4 minutes, and enjoy the knowledge of where they're going in Marvel Phase 5 with the new Avengers.
A ton of conjecture, especially here at the channel real recently, as to which iteration of the Avengers we'll eventually see next in the MCU, with the obvious setup for the Young Avengers, and we're going to get that team, make no bones about it, silver screen or Disney Plus yet to be seen. Whenever we get the next iteration of the adult team, be it Illuminati New Avengers or whatever the team up looks like, there's only a couple of members that are going to hold over from the Infinity Saga, meaning there are a ton of roster spots open. And today, in an exclusive from Mikey Sutton, who just so happened to launch his Geekosity website in the last 24 hours, comes a new report of just how the Avengers may look when finally they come back together in the MCU. Today, we're going to read through the report, break it down, contextualize it with what we already know. So something just real quick administratively before we get into the scoop. Mikey Sutton finally launched his own website called Geekosity alongside a lot of these other industry insiders who have their own publications. We're going to leave a link down in the description below. You can usually find the text-based versions of most of the scoops we run here at the channel or in any of the other places that he runs exclusives between some of the normal Hollywood trades and or other YouTube channels. Again, you can always find the text versions there, and there will always be a link down in the description to his website whenever we run one of his stories or scoops here at the channel. Reverence for all of these guys who are willing to put their names on this stuff and stand by their stories. Also, congratulations, Mikey Sutton, on taking this step. Best of luck with the website. Now, also, Mikey is a writer just like myself. He provides his scoops in the form of prose, so we're just going to read right through this word for word and then break it down. The official Geekosity website launches today at geekositymag.com, and to celebrate, Everything Always is dropping an exclusive for the brand new Avengers lineup. Earth's mightiest heroes are about to adopt a lineup change. Considering what happened after Endgame, there's no need for a spoiler warning about that. The Avengers will be minus Iron Man, the Steve Rogers Captain America, possibly Black Widow. Sutton has heard that Hawkeye will be retiring in his upcoming Disney Plus series, with Kate Bishop completely taking over, but Bishop will help form the Young Avengers and will not be joining this team. So when will the Avengers assemble, and who will be in attendance? Inside sources have told Sutton that the new Avengers will be composed of superheroes that will fit into the following: those who protect the skies and those who protect the streets. Keep in mind that skies here is relative, as in anything beyond the terrestrial, such as Doctor Strange and his multiversal mystical adventures. For the quote-unquote streets, Marvel Studios is looking to down-to-earth characters such as Luke Cage, Moon Knight, and later on, Daredevil. Of course, Spider-Man will be a part of this as well. Not every superhero who appears in an Avengers film will be on the team, so expect a roster that continually refreshes itself, much as it did in the Infinity Saga. Potential members being discussed include Black Knight, Ironheart, and Nova. There have also been whispers about a West Coast Avengers led by Vision and Scarlet Witch, War Machine, and Ant-Man. Just in previous installments, each Avenger serves a purpose, and until the scripts are written, members won't be solidified yet, but insiders stress to Sutton that Black Knight, who Marvel Studios has high hopes for with Eternals, is a sure thing. Please visit geekositymag.com for additional scoops, and as I mentioned, whenever we cover one of Mikey Sutton's stories or exclusives here, I'll always leave a link down in the description, and if I can, even...
Larry, I can't lie, man. I can't lie. That didn't do anything to make my you-know-what rise. I can't lie. I get.
You know what I think it is?
Yeah, go ahead, man. I gotta get my thoughts together, because that just almost made me depressed.
It feels like everything is so far off. Like I'm glad that they have all these phases and such going, but in light of everything that's happening, first it felt like all these phases were far off to begin with, because they are planning way in advance, which they have to do because they have to secure all the actors and the stories and get everything lined up. But it feels like everything is so far off, and now it feels like it's even further off because of the pandemic, and production is largely stopped, and it's just barely starting to pick up again. But it's hard to get excited about this stuff, especially when you're like, well, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to see it in the theater. It's probably not going to come out for 3 years, or I don't know. I don't know, man. It's something like the characters that they start off in the first phases of Marvel. Everybody knew about them. The other characters are I feel like are characters that were more for people that were really hardcore comic, readers and knew all the other characters. But all like Captain America, Iron Man, Black Panther, the all the other ones, Falcon, all the when
Hulk,
all those people, yeah, Thor, all those were people that if you just talk to just a regular layperson on the street and ask them, hey, name some comic book characters, they probably could name a few of them. All the X-Men, all those people, Wolverine, they all knew them. Because they were pretty commonplace. But some of the new ones in the next phases are not so commonplace, and maybe they'll become a big deal when their stories are put forward. But it's not as easy to get excited about them unless you already know about them.
Right. I would agree with that. And Disney is not making their money solely off the comic book readers and the people that know the comics. They're going regardless. Disney's making money off bringing people who are kind of novice to the whole thing. So you have people like me. I'm not heavy into the comics, but I've been heavy into the cartoons and the movies.
Right.
Then you've got cats who are heavy into the comics, not the cartoons and the movies.
Right.
I think there's a whole lot more of me, people who like the comics somewhat, definitely follow the cartoons, the video games, and the toys and the trading cards. Then you have the hardcore comic person that follows all that stuff. And those names that they're trying to introduce, I think that you got to go beyond just the reputation of what Marvel has done, because their reputation is good. If we're going to go strictly on Marvel's reputation, we're going to go see it and know that we're going to get a decent story. But I think that there's a better way to transition these teams by having at least one or two members from the old Avengers with these new teams as we get to know them, so that we can see them go through trials and tribulations and fall in love with these characters before you just go complete clean slate and start with some fresh new guys. I hope that's the direction they're going to go in.
I agree with you there. I agree with you 100%. I'm
nervous if they're just going to go in the direction of, okay, we're going cold turkey with Moon Knight, Black Bolt, whoever the hell we haven't seen yet. You've got to connect them with some of the old school guys we already know, and then I think you can transition. Now, a lot of people are waiting on Nova. I know, Larry, you might not know Nova that much, but Nova can step in and fill the role that Thor had. He can step in and fill that role. You can instantly fall in love with Nova. And the only reason I know that is because I've read his comic and I've seen his cartoons. I've seen him with Young Avengers. And then they did say they're going to keep Spider-Man. But, a lot of people don't like this version of Spider-Man. He's fine for me. I'm fine with Tom Holland. But I guess at the end of the day, we just have to trust Marvel. How many times have they let us down? Maybe twice.
I'll be honest with you, man. This current Spider-Man, I'm not the biggest fan. It's strange because it's not like I'm opposed to him, where I'm just like, oh, this dude sucks. I'm just not excited about it. Like I haven't even. I'll be honest. I haven't even seen Spider-Man Far. Was it Far Away from Home or something?
Yeah, Far From Home. You ain't missing nothing.
I haven't even seen it. I started watching it. And when they got to Europe and they had that first battle, I just was like, I think something came up. I had to hit pause, and I just never went back to the movie.
Yeah, you ain't missing nothing, man. It wasn't. I mean, it was okay. I guess the reason it made so much money is because Spider-Man is the children's most beloved superhero from Marvel. They love him and the Hulk. The two that the kids love the most in Marvel is Spider-Man and the Hulk. They love them too. And we can't get a Hulk movie until they iron out the deal with the distribution team that he's with. We can't see his movie yet. So, man, we'll just have to trust.
I don't know why they don't bring back, Spider-Man, your neighborhood Spider-Man. I don't know why they can't bring back some of the neighborhood Marvel characters and make a movie with them. I would love to see Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and all the Defenders. I'd love to see them do just a straight movie. It would be fantastic. Iron Fist, even as though people, I personally actually like the Iron Fist series. I know people said it was the worst one. People dogged it out. There was some corniness to it, but I actually kind of enjoyed it. When I went back and watched it again, I was like, no, this series is kind of dope. I like it, and maybe I didn't like the dude that played it, but I would definitely like to see an Iron Fist movie, or at least Iron Fist in a movie, know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, maybe he can hook up and Doctor Strange can train him or something. Or what's dude's name that works with Doctor Strange?
Wong.
Wong?
Yeah.
Wong, right. So maybe he can work with, maybe Wong and him can work together or something.
We'll see, man. But I'm with you. I'm not feeling what Marvel is attempting to do right now. And I'm definitely not feeling this virus is going to be forever before we get to see it. So I want them to start giving us some better news. And having said that, we'll transition to Trisha C's favorite subject. We're going to talk politics today, ladies and gentlemen, because...
Oh, I thought you were going to say T-Streams. I thought you said we were talking about T-Streams.
You see what he done there, Trisha C? You see what he done? I ain't do it. He did it. And let me shout out some people that's tuning in now. Futuristic Mike, Tarver Mighty, Yolanda Byers, what's up? Glad to see y'all.
Yolanda in the building.
We're going to talk those politics because it's important. You've heard this cliche over and over. This is the most important.
I just want to pause you for just one moment. Since we're gonna talk politics, I just want to put this out there just so that people understand this.
Go ahead.
That it's important that we recognize that there is proper transitions of power. And with that, we need to recognize that Killmonger is still the rightful ruler of Wakanda.
Ladies and gentlemen,
put it out there.
Let me give him what he wants, because if I don't give it to him every single video like a kid who watches the same movie 2,900 times, we're going to hear that. Here you go. This is for Larry.
Yeah, go ahead and burn all that.
My king, we cannot do that. It is our tradition.
When I tell you to do something, I mean that shit. Burn it all!
Okay, there you go.
The rightful ruler of Wakanda.
So if you go by that logic, ladies and gentlemen, you would think Larry is a Trump supporter.
No.
Yes, you would. Because everything Killmonger was trying to do is exactly what your president wants to do right here in America. He don't want to
backwards. That's everything that T'Challa was trying to lie.
No.
They're trying to work with outside forces to keep themselves in power.
No.
No. See, Killmonger's like a good old-fashioned Democrat. Pulled himself up by his bootstraps, started from the bottom. Now he's here. Went and claimed his birthright. He, for all we know, Killmonger might show up in Lovecraft Country and start talking about birthrights and whatnot. He's gonna be like, "Look, I know what it's like to have your birthright stolen. I'm here to help." He might show up there with some vibranium.
What? Man, I can't deal with this.
Yeah, go ahead and burn all that.
My king, we cannot do that. It is our tradition.
When I tell you to do something, I mean that shit. Burn it all!
Funniest line I have seen tonight. My folk Verbal Underground said, Killmonger Tariq 2020. That's a ticket you can get. Killmonger and Tariq 2020. I guarantee you everybody will go vote for that ticket. I guarantee you.
I'm there, man. Man, I need that shirt. I need that shirt right there. Killmonger Tariq 2020. I need that shirt.
Hey, I can get you one printed and have it ready to be shipped out by Monday. I might even make one just for you.
You get that? I'm going to wear it. I'm
Okay.
going to rock it on your show. I'm going to wear it on mine. Tariq Killmonger 2020. That's got to be Killmonger Tariq. Killmonger's running. Tariq's VP.
Right. So... Well, ladies and gentlemen, we tried to soften the field before we get into the real deal of what we need to talk about in terms of politics. As I was saying before, Larry rudely interrupted me to talk about a false king, a false prophet, a man with a vendetta, and vendettas get your ass killed. I was trying to say that the old cliche they use each and every year of this is the most important election finally rings true this year. Every other year was a lie. But this year, if you've been paying attention, and let's say you haven't been paying, let's say you've only given politics 2% of your time.
Right.
You're in chaos with this president. Every other week is a scandal he's involved with. Every other week.
Every single day.
Okay, well, we'll go every day. And my grandma always used to say, if it quacked like a duck, it waddles like a duck, it ain't a damn mongoose. She would always say to me this too. If you see smoke, you smell smoke, it's a damn fire somewhere. And that's what we're getting with this president. He's burning down the house of the United States of America.
Yeah.
And so a lot of things happened that took him back a couple of pegs this week, as well as we had the DNC. And I want to get Larry's opinion on the DNC after we take a look at this real big highlight from the DNC convention this week.
Hi, my name is Braden Harrington, and I'm 13 years old. And without Joe Biden, I wouldn't be talking to you today. About a few months ago, I met him in New Hampshire. He told me that we were members of the same club. We stutter. It was really amazing to hear that someone like me became vice president. He told me about a book of poems by Yeats he would read out loud to practice. He showed me how he marks his addresses to make them easier to say out loud. So I did the same thing today. And now I'm here talking to you today about the future, about our future. My family often says when the world feels better before talking about something normal, like going to the movies. We all want the world to feel better. We need the world to feel better. I'm just a regular kid, and in a short amount of time, Joe Biden made me more confident about something that's bothered me my whole life. Joe Biden cared. Imagine what he could do for all of us. Kids like me are counting on you to elect someone we can all look up to. Someone who cares. Someone who will make our country and the world feel better. We're counting on you to elect Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you've never worked with someone who has a need, it's tougher than to get in front of a camera and put themselves out there for the world. And this kid did it. And I think this is one of the foundational essences of the DNC and what they did this week. They had, if you didn't see Barack Obama's speech that he did live, might not add you, because Trump tried to pick on Michelle Obama because her speech wasn't live. Have y'all ever seen this buffoon speak live? I'd rather see a pumpkin spit out seeds on Halloween night than to see his ass speak live. He tried to pick on Michelle Obama because she wasn't live. Okay, we'll give you that. But then Barack Obama comes and delivers at least one of the top 10 best speeches you're going to ever see in the history of this country as to why we need to get out and vote. Larry, I give the floor to you. Give me your highlights from the DNC and further make your case why we need to elect a new president.
You know, I'll tell you. I mean, the thing that really caught me when I was watching all of this is a story that this rabbi told of Joe Biden. I guess when he had been in the Senate for, I don't know, for a decade or so. He had been in the Senate for a while, and he rolls in there into the synagogue and at a funeral, and the rabbi's like, "Why is Senator Biden here?" And so he asked him, he says, what are you doing here? He was like, "You're not Jewish, you're Roman Catholic." And he's like, "Yeah, but this woman donated $18 to me during my very first campaign when he was running for whatever it was he ran for, I think city council or for the state house or something. I don't remember what it was, but I that sort of take, because you hear all these stories about Joe Biden does this, Joe Biden does that. Oh, if you give him your phone number, he will call you. I mean, there was another story about a guy that he used to talk to often on the train, and then the guy ended up having a heart attack, and so Joe called him just when he was vice president to check on him. And it's like, how do you who does that? How do you keep track of people like that? I mean, this dude, and my wife and I talked about this, and she said, "Oh, he must have a really great staff and all this." And I said, "Yeah, he probably does, but he still has to make it a priority." Mm-hmm. And on top of that, he still has to remember, like, okay, here's this woman, because I'm pretty certain at this point that he probably doesn't have anybody on his staff that was with him when he first ran his campaign, and then now, and so. I mean, at some point, if he's up there remembering that there is this woman and somehow checking on her periodically and then realizing that she passed away, I mean, I don't know, unless he's like been in regular contact with her. It's one of those just remarkable stories where you're just like, how does he even know? Like, I mean, is this dude really that good of a person that he's just kept track of all these various people that he's met along the way, and it actually takes the time out to show up to a funeral or to give somebody a phone call? Or, I mean, it's just, you hear about presidents calling people when some soldier dies or when there's some mass shooting and something tragic happens and it's in the media. But just like some random person that you met along the way, it's just, they keep talking about through this whole thing, he's a good man, he's a decent man. And then you hear this stuff and that you're like, sometimes you hear these stories that seem sort of, I don't want to say fabricated, but they seem like they're like the situations were recognized that they could be something useful. And so they ran with them. Like you hear these people always say, oh, like so-and-so from Boise, Idaho that I met along the trail and they have cancer, or they have this, or they lost their dog and blah, blah, blah. And you hear people tell those stories in the same way. But when you hear someone just simply say, yeah, I met Joe when we were riding the train together when he was going back and forth and we used to chit chat about whatever. And then he became president. He stopped riding the train. And then a few years later, I had a heart attack. And then I got a phone call. They were like, it's the vice president's office. I'm like, I mean, to me, that was amazing, because I can never imagine Donald Trump doing something like that. I mean,
of course not. It's not within
Donald
him.
Trump does to for some sort of self-aggrandizement. Like, he's been doing this thing where he says he's not going to take a salary. He's giving his paychecks away. Well, every time he does, he's taking pictures of it, he's tweeting it, he's talking about it. And that is, I mean, do it, fine. If you want to tweet about it and talk about all your charitable works, that's fine. But that's not generally how you should be. You should do your charitable works and your good works in silence and in quiet, and let it just be that. The only time I feel like it's important to talk about your charitable works if you're trying to inspire other people to also do the same thing. Well,
to support Larry's point, help buffer his point rather, Trump is the same president that held up everybody's $1,200 stimulus money because he was trying to find a way to put his name on it.
Right.
He was trying to find a way to associate his name with the money. Now, what does that really say about his care for the community? And before we get back to discussion, let me shout out Yolanda Byers. She hit us with a super chat, so we've got to show her some love. This is one we haven't seen in a while, and it's only really, really quick. Yolanda, if you're gonna use a pole, make sure you screw it to the top of the ceiling, not glue it.
I was thinking Yolanda was giving that $10 to make sure that you stay off the pole. She's trying to make sure you stay off the pole. So thank you, Yolanda, for keeping Lamont off the pole. We don't want to see him up in P Valley.
She ain't got to worry about that. The only pole I keeps near me is the one where we all know where it's at. That's the only one. You ain't got to worry about that. I ain't going to nobody's damn pole. Forget it. But thanks, Yolanda.
If you're out there on the pole, we're okay with we're okay with your pole work if you're on the pole. You know, we accept all and welcome all.
Yeah, I ain't got that kind, bro. No. Now get him.
I'm sorry, man. That video just kills me because it's like she's in slow motion. She just tips over and goes right on the table.
It's like, what in the world? And then do you see how she wraps around the pole as if the pole gonna save her from gravity? Like, hey, matter of fact, beyond the bars, you started this. This is for you. Okay, all right. Now back to the DNC and the election. For me, of course, the highlight was Barack Obama and that great speech. Ladies and gentlemen, definitely a top 10 speech. I'm not going to say it ranks in the top 5 with the I Have a Dream speech. It's not that good. But for what we needed right now, considering the danger this country is in with its president, it has to go in the top 10. He let you have it. And he poked all the buttons. He pressed all the right notes. Trump was tweeting about Barack Obama the next day. That's how you know when you're under that man's skin, when he's tweeting about you. Now, this is a man who doesn't have jokes, ladies and gentlemen. The epitome of his jokes is calling somebody nasty or little or small hands or creepy. That's the epitome of his jokes. And when you have someone like that who is used to getting away with everything his whole life and getting away with it now, you defeat a person like that by overcoming every obstacle they put in your way. With them, it's all cheating. It's all division. It's all chaos. You see through the BS and you still mail your ballot, or you take your ballot to the polling place, drop it off, or you go vote. Get this clown out of here so we can get coronavirus back under control, so that we can get back into a society where we're trying to be brought together on things that help the society, not tearing us apart. And also so that we don't have to continue to see his crony acolytes get away with crimes that we know good and damn well, if people of color was doing, they'd be under the bus in jail right now. So this week, they finally got Steve Bannon. And ladies and gentlemen, that's just one. They got his lawyer. They had Flynn. They got what is homeboy that looked like Mr. Magoo? I should know his name. He worked with the Roger Stone. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody surrounding this president has been crooked. What does that tell you about the president? Everybody surrounding him has gone down. You don't think he had anything to do with any of this stuff? That's BS. If you think he lies to the American people every day. Every time he speaks, I'm just saying, how many lies is he going to do this time? And he's trying to keep us in chaos. I need you all to see through it. I need you to decipher some of the lies they tell. Get out there and vote. And not just vote Democrat, because we need tranquility back in this country. We need a leader to at least get us back in the right direction. And Joe might not be your favorite. God knows he wasn't mine. But I will vote for Johnny Appleseed before I vote for Trump. Back to you, Larry.
Yeah, I'm gonna say vote for Biden. Vote for Biden and Harris. I mean, you don't have to love the dude. You just need to recognize that he's gonna be way better for this country than Donald Trump is. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, it's not. With some people, it's just a matter of disagreeing on policy. Oh, I think this ought to be done this way instead of that way. Maybe you believe in a more progressive or aggressive economic scheme where somebody else is talking about trickle-down economics. Maybe you have differences in policy, but that's all that stuff aside. Donald Trump is actually dangerous for this country. We had a pandemic response plan put in place that was ready to go. And it had worked in the past, because if you remember, over the last last decade or so, we had a threat of Ebola virus coming to this country. It had reached here, but we were able to knock that out. We had SARS, we had H1N1. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've had a number of viruses that have been at pandemic levels in other countries, and that we were able to stomp out here.
Right, and to add to what Larry is saying, I didn't mean to cut you off, Larry. Everything Larry mentioned was done under Barack Obama's presidency. Who was his vice president? Joe Biden. You might have to throw it back, Larry.
Right. And so the thing is, they had put together plans. They had them in place. They listened to the experts. They had implemented certain things to make sure that the country stayed safe from it. We never got to the point with those other viruses that we needed to shut down the economy and we needed to wear masks. We needed to do all these other things because they put in practice these protocols so that it never really touched us like that. Like when we heard about Ebola, it was sad. Oh, there was a doctor that maybe was working with Ebola over in Africa when they went to help, and now they have it, and they were locked off in some quarantine area in Emory Hospital in Atlanta. Oh, somebody else has this, so they basically shut down an entire hotel and locked the people in the hotel and gave them medical treatment. But they did serious things to make sure that the country as a whole wasn't affected. And Donald Trump does not care. He will burn this thing to the ground. He does not care about any of us. He does not care about Democrats. He doesn't care about Republicans. People believe, oh, well, if I support him, he'll care about me because he cares about those that like him. He doesn't care about you at all. He'll use you, but he doesn't care about you. And he's willing to burn it down to the ground. Why? Because I mean, the man's 78 years old or something. He's not going to live another 20 years. He probably won't even live another 10 years, maybe. But
hell, I mean, know if he's surviving now the way his ass eat, old fat ass punk.
Right. In the way people talk about he's having all these cognitive issues, he probably won't remember anything in the next 4 to 5 years anyway. So even if he if he burns the whole country down, he's not going to know any different because he won't be around. He will either won't be physically here to remember or he just won't remember. So he doesn't care. Right. And, it's sad. And it's sad that so many people are willing. And this is my firm belief. Some people will disagree with me, but it's my firm belief that there are so many white people in this country that are willing to set everything else in this country aside. They are willing to set aside all of the rights and privileges, all the good, everything of this country to the side so that they can feel that they are maintaining some sort of racial superiority. And they're willing to go down this rabbit hole with somebody who is a complete racist and white nationalist so that they can feel better about themselves, so that they can feel
even if they're
still on the top of the heap.
Even if they're voting against what's best interest to them, the most important thing is he's my guy. He hates those blacks. He believes in the QAnon theories. He believes in all this division shit. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to overcome that. You've got to get to the polls. You've got to get people to vote with you. So we've got to get this idiot out the White House. He's the last stronghold for these white privileged guys who are losing their privilege. He is our president. He's not all of our presidents. And when I say that, if someone was a Trump supporter, they would attack me and say, how can you say that? He's the president of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, was it not just last week he rejected Nancy Pelosi's bill to extend funds for unemployment, give the states and states and cities more money, and he done it on the guise of because Democrats run these cities and states, they don't need no money. Ladies and gentlemen, think about that.
That's not the first time that he's done something like that.
When you take that oath of White House, it doesn't say you're taking the oath for the people who support you, for the states that voted for you. It says you take that oath for all Americans, all of them. And his ass said it on TV that he doesn't care about the cities and states that are Democrat. He's telling you how he feels. Now, everyone should have a problem with that, Republicans and Democrats. Because what if a Democrat got in office and said, F the Republican states, move to Mars, go to Africa, go back to Europe? How would that be? I don't want to hear that.
Here's the thing. If a Democrat got into office and said that, I don't think that these Republicans fully understand the impact that would have on them. And I say this in all seriousness. When you look at these Republican states versus the Democratic states, the blue states versus red states, we could be fine. Most of the blue states, we could just simply say, cool, government, you don't want to help us? We'll stop sending tax dollars your way. We'll watch the federal government crumble, but we'll be okay. Because when you look at states like New York, California has the 5th largest economy in the world. We're not talking about the 5th largest in America. California has the 5th largest economy in the entire world, and it's just one of 50 states. And I mean, but places like New York and California, they send in, like, I forgot what it is. It's something like 12, 15 times more tax dollars than they receive from the federal government. They basically are receiving nothing. They're just sending money out. And if they ever stop that, the federal government, there are states like Mississippi and Alabama and South Carolina and Kentucky, they are welfare states. They are true federal welfare states. They don't send anything in. All they are doing is receiving money. And so if all those red states, people just said, you know what? Cool, that's the way you want to do it. We don't want you. We don't need your help. We don't want your help. And those states would crumble. Their people would be starving. And what would happen is you would have a mass exodus of people leaving those states because they wouldn't have any money to live there. They couldn't get the places like Kentucky with Mitch McConnell's, senator of. They are the largest. That state has the most and is the largest recipient of food stamps and welfare of the entire country. And it is a bunch of poor white people. And for whatever reason, those people are Republicans and think somehow that they're doing good. They want to believe that because they're white, somehow they are still better than everybody else because they're white. They may be poor, they may be dumb, they may be uneducated, they may be sick, but because they're white, they think they're still better. And instead of voting for a party that will say, you know what? We'll just go ahead and do the work so we can lift you out of this sinking boat that you're on. We'll make sure that your kids get a good education. We'll make sure that public universities and colleges are free so that your kids can go to school and you don't have to worry about bankrupting yourself or saddling them with debt for the next 10, 12, 15 years of their life or longer, that they'll be able to get health care, that they'll be able to do all of these things that you can't do now, but we'll make sure that you're protected. And these people are just like, nah, I'd rather feel good about being white.
Or I'd rather feel good about seeing someone who makes the Democrats mad. Even though I'm fucking up my own house, I don't care. I just want to see the Democrats mad. And that pleasure is enough to get me through in life. It's a messed up way of being. So ladies and gentlemen, you smart people watching this YouTube, watching me and Larry, you've got to vote. And we will be doing politics every week from now through the election and after the election to follow the aftermath. I'm going to take us to another area where you can make life gains, and that is your finances and our stock reporting. Larry, go ahead, Larry.
So one last thing, since you mentioned about voting, one last thing I want to remind everybody when it comes to voting. And I know that everyone in the comments are spread out from all over the country, but when you check with your counties and find out what they are offering as far as absentee voting, because some states will just automatically send out an absentee ballot and you can vote by mail. They do it. Some states do it automatically. You don't have to make any requests. It just shows up. Right. Other states, you have to make the request. And like, for instance, in my state, in Virginia, and in Fairfax County particularly, I can go to any one of, I think, 14 different polling places early. So I think starting on October 14th, I think it is, I can go vote early at one of these 14 locations. So I show up, I have my ID, they look it up, they give me a ballot, I go vote. Now, the reason why I say this is I'm saying this and it's important is because for some people, they may not want to vote by mail. Some people, after all this stuff that's happening with the post office and with Trump talking about this stuff, some people like myself do not trust that my mail-in ballot is going to count. I'm not sure that
I don't either.
All kinds of shenanigans.
I don't either, ladies and gentlemen. I don't either.
Right.
I don't.
So I plan on voting in person, and in doing so, one of the safest ways you can vote in person is to vote early. And so check with your county and find out if you can vote early, because I can tell you right now, if the election day is on the 3rd, there's going to be lines like there always is. There's going to be hours and hours and hours of lines like there always is in certain places. But if you can go to an early voting location on a random Tuesday, morning or afternoon or something, or a Thursday evening after work, if you can go on some random day at some random time, you probably will be able to walk in there, vote, and leave without ever having to deal with probably anybody else except for the poll worker that checked your ID. So if safety and your health and safety is a concern, definitely consider the early voting if you have the option. And if you want to do the absentee ballot voting, you can. And for most people, if you don't know, you can go to your county building, your county office, and you can vote there. Most counties have the means for you to go to your actual county office and vote there. So just to let you know, early vote if you can.
Last point to what he's saying. Also, if you're in a place that's going to give you an absentee ballot, ladies and gentlemen, call to your board of elections and ask if you can take that absentee ballot and drop it off wherever the early voting locations are. My county is going to have a box set up where I can just take my absentee ballot and drop it in the box outside, keep it moving. But if you're like me and Larry and you're willing to get there early and you don't mind just throwing on your mask, going in there, hitting the button, go hit the button. But whatever you do, you got to get your vote in there. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll keep pressing this issue all the way through the election. Now we're going to move on to stocks. If you've been following me and Larry from March till now, the stock we have been giving everybody the tip to go and buy has been Tesla. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what Tesla has been doing in the last week since we recommended that you go buy it. Take a look at this. It is unbelievable.
Good to have you. And what tells you that this is largely kind of a momentum-driven, retail trading-driven run-up?
Well, since the stock split was announced, I mean, you've seen that giant increase, and there hasn't been any fundamental change to the business that would justify such a huge increase. But really, it underscores just the idea that there are a lot of retail investors who are excited to be in the story. And this is a story stock, even going back to the beginning. It's the sale of this is the future of transportation. And it's a lot of ways like the way that Elon Musk sells his cars through viral marketing and enthusiasm through people who are excited about that future.
That may be the case, but it kind of suggests that if it's all being driven by retail buying interest, that it's the herd more or less. The herd is in the stock. The herd can leave the stock.
That is the challenge and the threat there, not just for Tesla, but for other tech companies right now that are seeing this huge run up as investors look for ways to put their money when they're looking at other companies that aren't doing so well. There's another issue here for Tesla as well. You have this anticipation that it's going to be the S&P 500, having met its 4 quarters of profitability. So there's been an increase in that way as well. But clearly right now, there's a huge interest in retail investors who are excited about the story that Tesla is telling, even if longtime observers of the auto industry can't quite do the math on justifying that valuation. And remember, it was just, May that Elon Musk was even saying that the stock valuation of Tesla was too high.
And so we should show this chart, which is incredible. We were just showing on air, which compares the ownership of Tesla on Robinhood's platform, that's the orange line on the right-hand side, to the stock price. And they virtually overlap. So ownership has exploded from 100,000 to 550,000 accounts this year following the run-up in the stock price. Tim, what's interesting is the #1 held stock on Robinhood is Ford, and yet its stock price chart seems to be inversely correlated. The more accounts hold it, and I don't know why they're all holding it, the lower the stock price goes. So does that suggest that it's not just the Robinhood effect that's pushing up Tesla's share price?
Well, there is that, but also the idea of the excitement of the people who want to get into shares going forward. I mean, if you look at the companies out in the investment world right now, who's seeing the increase? If I was talking to an investor the other night who was saying the debate they have at night is, well, where are you going to put your money in a bubble if you think this is a bubble? The interest rates are so low, not a lot of companies are performing, but you look at Tesla every day and it seems like it's going up. So why not get a piece of that action? It goes back to the original kind of thesis of Tesla, which is it's a big gamble. You know, the idea of what Elon Musk was talking about from the beginning was something that even he would say had very low chances of being successful. Though we've seen success in the last year that has built the momentum and kind of expectations that success can go forward, there's still a big risk here.
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, they announced that they was going to do a stock split. I bought some last week. The price was $1,400 and some change, and you just seen it went up to $2,087. Okay, and me and Larry been talking about this thing since March when it was $400, and when it splits, Robinhood is going to explode again with more retail investors. So I'm telling everybody that's been following us, if you bought some, sit on it before you take your profits. About 3 weeks after the split is official, then capture some of your profits and invest them somewhere else. And then we're going to ride this ship on out, ladies and gentlemen. Having said that, as good as they have done, Larry, would you believe what has been the #1 growing stock on the S&P this year? Because Tesla's not on the S&P. So guess what's been the S&P's #1 fastest growing stock this year?
I'm going to say Apple.
Nope. NVIDIA, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, I should have said that. I think I actually heard that and sort of knew that, but it just didn't come to mind.
NVIDIA has been the fastest growing stock of the year. And me and Larry and Mark said, get some of that too. So if y'all are listening to us trying to get them life gains, we're trying to help you out. And for all of you that was following this channel, wanting to know what happened with my puts that paid me good option money, I've got a chart for you. Because me and Larry was sweating my blink. Because that blink was tripping. So
I was texting him, asking him, man, what's going on with Blink? Why is it just tanking?
So right here is 4 p.m. My Blink put was $5. It ended at $6.68. And you can't see the credit, but they paid me $70. And then Wayfair, you got just what I need. See, that time is 4 o'clock. My put was for $312. It ended at $340. Larry, after going through all those, I was able to walk away, and I got my collateral back, Larry, with $854 in my pocket.
That's nice. That is nice.
My friend, Why Not down there is asking, explain puts and calls. I made a full video on options in Robinhood this past Monday. Go check out that video. I did a step-by-step walkthrough of the whole thing. And the last thing I'm going to cover is something Larry discovered. And y'all know how Larry's discoveries is. But ladies and gentlemen, he finally got one right. The stock I want you guys to consider putting in your portfolio next week is this beautiful thing right here. It's called Toll Brothers. They deal with real estate, retail, and residential with a high end in residential. This is their 5-year chart, and it's showing you a 12% growth. But forget that part. Let's talk about the important part, the earnings. The last earnings they had beat the expected, and they're expected to come in here, and their earnings call, didn't you say it's this week, Larry? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's August 25th.
This coming week. Sorry.
Yep, it's August 25th. So, ladies and gentlemen, a great time to buy a stock if you want to make weekly money or day trade money is when you know they've got earnings coming up that week. If the earnings is expected to be strong, buy some of that stock Monday, and then wait for the report to come out, and then sell the difference and get your profit. That's exactly what. As a matter of fact, this week when y'all see me do my put video, I'm doing a put on Toll Brothers so that you guys can watch me do the walkthrough of that again, and I'll show you guys this is how I'm making this money. I mean, this is why life is on chill mode for me, because I do these options week to week. And I'm putting them up here for you guys to follow, chart, and document. Floor is yours, Larry.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like a nice one. There's been a lot of talk about how people are buying more homes and, new homes versus, existing homes as well. And, interest rates are at record lows, so people can borrow money for less than they ever could before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, for a lot of people that are out of work, they can't take advantage of it because, well, they're out of work. So, but for those of you that can, it's a great, you know, for a lot of people, it's a great time to buy a home if you can find one that you like, because there's also record low inventory right now. But you know, a company like Toll Brothers, you know, they're a home builder, and I think they're just going to continue to rise moving on in the future, because I think there's going to be a lot of, I think for the next, I don't want to say the full generation, but it could be where people who have started to move into the cities for all the conveniences that the cities offer, I think are because of this pandemic, are probably going to, you know, are looking to move back out, get back into the suburbs where they have houses that are bigger, that have more space that they can move around in, that they can have a yard, that if they have kids, or kids can run around and play. Whereas if you live in a city, you don't really have that option. Maybe before you didn't care because you can go to the park, or you can go down the street to your local bar or restaurant and sit outside, but you can't do that anymore. So I think there's going to be, you know, a generation of people that are going back to the suburbs, you know, and because it's a home, most people don't buy a home and upgrade it like they do a car, where they say, okay, well, I bought a car 2 years ago, I think I'll go ahead and trade it in. Most people buy a home and keep that home for, you know, 5-10 years. So we'll see.
Yep. Well, that's all we got for you, ladies and gentlemen. We're some brothers that need some sleep.
Yeah, I'm tired.
So I want you guys to follow us. I will be dropping a review for the last episode of Shy on Sunday.
That ticker actually, Lamont, it's not TOLL, it's TOL.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
TOL, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I will be doing another Lovecraft Country video. And on Monday, I'll be dropping my option video, what I'm going to do this week. And for those of you that want to know, how do I pick the companies that I do I do my options with? Number one, I look for who has the highest premium based on what I'm willing to spend. And then I see what action is going on with them in the coming week. I go back and see if they had a 5-year history of growth. Then I go to a 1 month and a 1 week and last day history of growth. And then I also see if they have earnings calls coming up or anything that can affect them in the marketplace that week. And then I pick the company. And most of the time, I bet at the very top of the strike. Because if it's a quality company and you get stuck with it, you can just turn around and sell it the next week. Simple as that. So, Larry, we're out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Check us out later. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Larry's channel. He will be going live tomorrow night. Show the man some love. And until that next Sex is Hell video, we'll see you.
Mask up.
Mask up.